What if your internet security cameras or your entire network rack went completely dead? Not because the power grid failed, guys, but because your solar battery ran out on a cloudy day. That happened to me recently, and it sent me down a rabbit hole that ended with this $38 fix that now makes sure that it never happens again. I'm Richard. This is Off-Grid Solar Living, and today we're doing a full install, guys, of a EG4 3000 inverter, wall-mounted right here in our studio, and then we're wiring up an automatic transfer switch that acts as a fail-safe backup. I'm going to show you everything, including the moment it failed and exactly how we solved it. All right, let's start from the beginning. This is the EG4 3000. And right now, out of the gate, I want you to notice something when you open this box. First thing you see, 2 AWG battery wires. These are already included. The battery breaker's in there, the wall mount for that breaker's in there, and the instruction manual and the data cables, including the Cat 5. It's all in the box. They're not nickel and diming you on accessories, and that's one thing I appreciate about EG4. And then, look at that. A Wi-Fi dongle right there in a little cardboard box tucked inside the foam. Guys, that means you're getting remote monitoring built in at no extra purchase required, which is amazing. Now, here she is. That is the EG4 Yellow. Beautiful. The logo on the top. This thing is surprisingly light. I mean, genuinely light, which matters a lot when you're mounting it by yourself onto a wall. Okay, before we mount it, let's get familiar with the wiring ports. I'm pulling off the lower cover here. Just one screw on each side, real simple. And here's what we're working with. Up top, you've got your 2 PV inputs. That's where your solar panels connect. Then you've got your AC in over here, your AC out, and your battery terminals. Each port is clearly labeled right on the board, guys. No guessing, no digging through the manual trying to figure it all out. The battery positive and negative are right here. That's where your 2 AWG cables are going to seat and get tightened down to the motherboard. It's nice and clean. Now let's talk battery cables. These are the 2 AWG cables. They came right in the box. And you've got ring terminals on one end and the inverter terminal connectors on the other end. I'm feeding them up through the bottom grommets here and into the battery terminals that are on the inside of the unit. Once they're seated, I'm going to go ahead and go through the top access port with a screwdriver and tighten those down to the motherboard. You want these power cables to be very secure so you have a good secure power connection. Now, the reason I'm doing this before mounting it is simple. It's a lot easier to work with it on a flat table than reaching up on a wall. So I suggest to pre-wire what you can and save yourself the headache. Now let's get it on the wall here. We're mounting this here in our studio right next to our equipment rack. 2 screws on the top. I'm going to level it with the bubble level and the screw on the bottom. That's it. And I keep saying this. This thing is light. It took me a couple of minutes. No extra set of hands needed. So here's where it gets interesting. And this is specific to how we're using this unit. The AC input for this inverter is not coming from the grid. We're pulling from the smart load port on our EG4 12000 XP. That means when the 12000 XP has surplus solar energy, we're not losing it or wasting it. it's going to go ahead and route it through the smart port on the 12,000 XP, and that's going to feed the 3,000. I'm running solid copper wire here, line, neutral, and ground, directly from the 12,000 XP into the AC in on the 3,000. Then the AC outside gets wired to a 120 volt socket, and that socket feeds our entire network rack. So in normal operation, solar power charges the 12,000 XP. The 12,000 XP shares excess power through the smart load port to the 3,000, which receives that power and routes it into our network gear. Clean, efficient, and no grid dependency. Next up, battery. I'm metering the line in from the 12,000 XP before I connect the battery, and we're seeing 110.3 volts. The smart load port is live and it's feeding the inverter right now. Now the battery connection. We're hooking this up to the Big Battery Husky 2. It's our 48 volt lithium battery bank, and that's what we're using. Positive to positive, negative to negative. We're going to tighten down the ring terminals here. We're going to reinstall our plastic cable caps, and bam, we have a solid connection. This battery is the 3000 energy reserve. When AC input is available from the smart load port, it charges the battery and passes power through. When the input drops, the battery takes over and keeps the output live. Well, at least that was the plan. Okay, we power it on. The LCD comes up showing 109 volts input. Charging light is blinking. We've got a solid green on the AC. She's running. Everything looks exactly like it should. The wiring is clean, the connections are good, and the network rack is now online. So the system is working. Here's what nobody tells you when you're designing a solar-fed system. Cloudy days don't just reduce your output, they can take your smart load port completely offline. Smart load port only activates when there's surplus solar energy. On a heavy overcast day, like the one you're seeing right now, the panels weren't producing enough to fill the batteries and trigger the smart load output. The input to the 3000 went away. And when the input went away, the battery started carrying the full load. Of course, eventually, the Big Battery Husky 2 ran down. The 3000 shut off. And the entire network rack, no internet, no network attached storage, no security cameras. Now, I'm not telling you this to scare you away from this setup. I'm telling you this because this is real world solar living. And the solution is really simple once you know the problem. What we needed was a failsafe. Something that would automatically switch the network gear to a different power source the moment the 3000 went offline. With zero downtime, zero manual intervention, and guess what? I found it on Amazon for $38. This is an automatic transfer switch, ATS for short. $38 on Amazon, and it completely solves our problem. Now, here's how it works. The ATS has 3 sets of terminals. There's the generator input at the top. That's where we connect this to the 12,000 XP's output power. Then we have utility power input in the middle. And that is where we wired this through to the 120 volt connected to the smart load breaker there on the 12,000 XP. And then there's the load output on the very bottom. That goes straight to the network rack. So under normal conditions, the automatic transfer switch sees power from the inverter and it routes that to the load, to the network rack. Now the green light is on. The network gear is running on inverter power. Everything is clean. So the moment the inverter goes offline, like when that battery drains, the ATS detects the loss of power on the generator side and automatically switches it to the utility side from the 12,000 XP going direct. And it does it fast enough that the network gear doesn't even blink. No downtime. Watch this. I'm turning the 3000 on. Its output, 120 volts. The ATS switches to inverter power, green light, green light, red load indicator on. Now I flip it off and watch the ATS. There it is. Instantly switched back to the utility source. No flicker, no downtime. The network gear never stopped running. $38, guys. That's it. So here's the full picture. The EG4 3000 is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Taking excess solar energy from the smart load port, storing it in a dedicated battery, and providing clean power to our critical network equipment. And the ATS is the insurance policy here that makes the whole thing bulletproof. If solar production drops and the battery drains, the system automatically falls back to direct power without any interruption. The 3000 is available, guys, through Signature Solar. It's amazing. I love it. And I'll link to it below. If you're running any kind of critical loads off your solar system, or maybe using it out on your deer lease, you really want to have this unit. It's dedicated, it has a clean power source with its battery backup, and this is a solid unit. You can also input solar to it, which we don't have at this time due to financial constraints. But I just want you to know something. It's light, it's easy to install, it has Wi-Fi monitoring built in, and this price point, it's hard to argue with. If this helps you, hit that subscribe button. We cover real-world solar builds, not just the pretty little installs. We show you what happens when it doesn't work too, because, guys, that's where you actually learn something. I'm Richard. I want to thank you for watching. Keep shining, stay charged, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.